Well, it's very sad what's going on. You know, we left Iraq without any trainers there and frankly without any intelligence or any special forces, and this is the result. ISIS has now come in and taken over about a third of the country, and they continue to make progress despite some of our air attacks. And the reason is, you know, we left too soon without leaving some presence on the ground there, including intelligence. So yeah, unfortunately, we have to provide some of that intelligence now. We have to help the Iraqi forces to get back on track where they were when we left. They've since, you know, deteriorated in terms of their capabilities. And sadly, you know, this terrorist threat is spreading. So it's not just ISIS. You also see this now in Yemen. You obviously see it in Syria. We also see challenges now on the eastern border of Ukraine with Russia showing a much more aggressive behavior. So we do have to re-engage with the world, and that includes, I think, helping the Iraqis to be able to defend themselves. Well, we need to ensure that trust fund doesn't go belly up. You know, that's the concern right now, is that if you don't act really by the end of this month, you're going to have a real problem in terms of funding projects that are ongoing. So there are plenty of orange barrels in the tri-state area, and we've got to ensure that those projects continue. And then on Brent Spence, we've got to have a partnership, local, state, and federal. That's what's happening with other bridges around the country. We've got a couple things we can and should do. One is direct more federal funding to bridges like ours that are, one, nationally significant, and two, that are obsolete. And we have a situation where our bridge unfortunately falls in that obsolete category. So that's one thing I've been pushing, getting more money that's currently available in the trust fund toward the Brent Spence Bridge. Second, we've got to do more in terms of ensuring that the federal government can play a role with financing it. There's a program called TIFA, and I've talked to the Department of Transportation about this. They're perfectly willing to engage on this. It involves, you know, again, a local and a state federal partnership, but there the federal government can basically help to finance it with low interest loans, and that's been done around the country successfully. So we got to look at what's happened around the country that's actually worked to get some of these big projects. It gets more expensive every year, so the sooner we do it, the better. And boy, if we don't fix it, it's going to be a huge bottleneck, because, you know, 71 and 75 coming together there does affect our local economy. Well, that's part of it. I mean, that's a local decision that's got to be made. You know, the local match is going to have to be there. There's no question about it. There is, you know, again, no experience around the country where you haven't had that local involvement. And, you know, the Chamber of Commerce, I know, in Cincinnati and in Northern Kentucky are both working through that, letting people know how important it is to our local economy. So I have recently talked to some of the business leadership, including small businesses in the greater Cincinnati area, who realize, gosh, this could really affect us in an even more negative way. It's already, you know, affecting us, because you think of the traffic jams there and all the wasted time and effort and the difficulty of moving stuff through Cincinnati. So I do think that this is, you know, going to be something the local community is going to have to come to grips with. We're going to have to make a decision. Yeah, well, they claim they were hiring up too fast, but that's not an excuse. If they're hiring up so fast that they can't get the clearances, then they need to slow down and put some more funding and emphasis on clearances. I've gotten involved in this issue over the years, actually got some legislation passed last year to speed up some of these clearances, not for Secret Service necessarily. This was more, you know, for the national security personnel, intelligence people and so on. But we've got to come up with a faster way to get through these reviews. And honestly, some of the reviews go on for months and months and months when that's not necessary. So part of the problem is a more efficient process to get these reviews done. But yeah, the Secret Service has had lots of problems. I am a fan of the new director. They put a new guy in named Joe Clancy, who was from outside. He came back in, and I do think he's got the right approach. I know the guy personally, and, you know, he has told me that heads are going to roll, and he is going to have, you know, more accountability in the system, and that's necessary. I mean, it's absolutely unacceptable to have the Secret Service, who protect the president, but also, as you say, protect a lot of other people and actually buildings around this city, not to be, you know, at the cutting edge and be the best at what they do anywhere in the world. Because let's be honest, the terrorist threat is not just increasing, but they're becoming more sophisticated. So if anything, we got to up our level, you know, rather than having these kind of problems. Well, we've got an amendment we're going to offer today. We've been working on for the last few years, which is to ensure that our returning warriors, our wounded warriors who have invisible signs of war, meaning have mental health problems, are taken care of. Right now, there is not an evaluation as recruits are going into the military, and there's also not an evaluation that's effective as they come out. So we're not detecting signs of mental health problems, PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, and so on soon enough, and we aren't getting people into the right kind of treatment that they need. The results have been, as we've seen tragically, you know, around the country, a high level of suicide, but also, you know, some tragic incidences where people, because of their mental health problems, have taken lives of others in the military. So this is an issue that we have to address. There are more mental health problems of returning veterans from Afghanistan and Iraq than we've seen in previous wars, and we've got to do a better job of identifying those people and getting them the help that they need. So that's what I'll be doing today with the defense bill. It's something, again, I've worked on for several years now. It's our legislation is called the MEPS Act, and it basically is mental health parity to try to ensure that just as we're treating symptoms of physical health, we got to do that for our veterans on mental health also. Oh wait, we got to talk about Ride Cincinnati. Yes, but I also need to talk about Ride Cincinnati for a second. On Saturday morning, Greater Cincinnati's got a great opportunity to support cancer research, and it's called Ride Cincinnati. It's something that's done every year. I've co-chaired this in the past. My wife Jane and I are co-chairing it again this year. You know, cancer affects us all. Certainly, my own mom, who died of a rare form of cancer, and so many others of us have family members or friends affected. This one focuses on breast cancer. My wife's mom died at age 51 of breast cancer, and one of her sisters is a survivor, and so she has a strong interest in this too, but all of us do. So if you want to come out and support that, it's Saturday morning. Come on out, Ride Cincinnati, bring your bicycle and your bike helmet, and join this ride.